This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Our goal with our videos is to empower you to be able to do the repairs on your own and save a whole lot of money and also get that great feeling of having fixed it by yourself.
We just got this Vivo Home Mig-Welder delivered to the house. We're going to do the unboxing. And this came from Amazon. And this is kind of a simple welder, so if you're new to welding, this might be a good one to use. Kind of funny, it comes with this welding mask, and this would work. You just assemble it, it's pretty easy. Just fold it over, and these clip in, and if you are in a pinch, you can definitely use this as a welding mask because it will protect your face, and it does have the screen to protect your eyes and has a little handle. But it's better if you can when you weld to have both hands free. So these are about 65 bucks. You can get these at Amazon, and they're auto darkening and better protection and easier to use, and it allows both hands to work. That's kind of cool though that they send you something just in case. Basically the idea of this one is that they give you everything that you need in order to actually weld that same day you get it. These are kind of heavy. Let's see if we can get it out of here. On out. Alright, and then with it you're going to get a couple of tools. This is the handle that goes on the mask, and this is basically a tool to knock off slag. It's kind of a cheapo one, but it would work. So again, if you are looking to do really strong welds, probably not the right one for you, but if you just want to do some lightweight welding, this could be great. Made in China, and we're going to be using it to make some Damascus steel with our forging and fire routine. Damascus steel is kind of cool. It's a nice wave pattern that can be made in metal, but it requires you to weld the metal together, and a MIG welder is a really easy one to learn on. So this is some of the things you're going to be getting. Kind of a simple welder. It has the on-off switch. It uses 110 volts. Some of these you can get them where they can run on 110 or 220. 220 can be better if you have a 220 outlet because it's going to give you more raw power to work with. So that could be nice. But a lot of times people don't have that kind of setup. And for what we're going to be doing, we don't need that much power, so 110 should be fine. So this is the part, has a belt clip, and this button is a micro switch, which is going to help feed the wire that's coming out. That's actually part of what's turning into the liquid metal. And when you press this, it isn't like it's sending the energy. The energy is always hot, which is kind of not a great advantage on this particular model, so you have to be careful because when that's hot, if you touch it against metal that's grounded by this one, it'll basically start to weld. So that's why it's good to have it on a hook when you're not using it. So here's your 110 power plug. They say that with this model it is not good to use this with an extension cord, so you do want to plug this in and have your workstation right where you can work. With an extension cord it tends to not work. So this is going to determine the speed of how fast, when you press this button, the little wire feeds out. You can control that. And then you have different power settings for how strong, how much energy you want. The thicker metals are going to require more energy because you're feeding out that metal, but it's also you want to be melting the existing metal you're working on. To some point, you don't want to go too far. So pretty simple. This part is where the spool is. So to open this, I believe you slide this, I think. Yeah, that pops up. And inside this, you have some more parts, and you have your instruction manual. So this is your reel of wire that you're going to be using to weld. It loads onto the spool. This is a handle that's going to go on the top to help you carry this. couple of Phillips head screws to hold that in. Easy to do. Instruction manual. These are some parts that are used to hold down the spool. You have a couple of heads that come with this, and you have a couple of fuses in case something goes wrong and you pop a fuse. And this is the part that's going to feed in your wire. So your wire is going to be going through that. Then goes through. I don't know if you guys can see this. Turn on that light. It goes through another hole here, and this thing clamps down. This goes into position on top of that, and then you can control how tightly those wheels press down to feed that wire, so that when you press the micro switch on the trigger, there's a motor that's going to push this through all the way through here and out, giving you the wire to weld with. And this is a kind of wire that does not require an inert gas, but instead it has a flux with it. So it's kind of cool. You don't need to use the gas, and it's just a different kind of setup. But it's just a small spools just to get you started, and you can get bigger spools. There's room for a bigger spool to be put in there. And what else? Nice cooling fan on the back. Little styrofoam pieces are stuck. Pretty cool. So fairly inexpensive, and you're getting good quality switches here. These feel really solid. You have indicator light, nice rheostat here for controlling the control of how fast the wire comes out. And we'll show you a little bit of video of actually using this to do some welding. I've never welded in my life, but I think watching some good YouTube videos, I don't think it's going to be too hard to do. And I think this is a good unit to learn on. You got to be safe, of course. So this spool is going to go into position, and the wire is going to feed in here. See if we can show you guys that. So once you get this wire out of here, it's going to want to unspool itself. So kind of keep your thumb on it. And I'm going to cut off this bent part because I need this to be very straight to fit inside here. Alright, that's the mask. Isn't that fun? So you could just weld the same day if you want, because maybe you don't have a welding helmet. Yeah. And that would actually work. It would protect your face and protect your eyes, but it's kind of chintzy. Yeah. So it's otherwise. I mean, that's kind of a chintzy thing, and also they call that a slag tool used for brushing your work and knocking a little hammer to knock off the little driplets of metal that kind of spatter around. Yeah. But it would work, not the best tool, but just for temporary. Yeah. So this one's kind of interesting. If you want to open this, you move this away and you lift up like this. Has some fuses, some more tips, instructions. Yeah, and this is the kind of wire that comes out here. This is a micro switch. When you press it, it completes a circuit on the motor. The motor turns and wire feeds out there, goes through, comes out the tip. And you want your wire to be about that long when you're about to weld. Yeah. But the wire is part of what melts, and also theoretically there's enough electricity for it to melt somewhat the metal you're working on. So it's a combination of this melting and the other part melting, and those three things coming together. Yeah. So the one thing they warn you about is when you put this thing on your piece of metal that you want to work on, or on your table, this is called a ground clamp. Yeah. Like this. And then you turn this on, you have the machine on, it's active. Whether you're pressing this button or not, if this, like when you want to weld, even if you're not pressing this, all this does is it feeds wire. It doesn't turn the power on and off. Some welders it does. It's always hot. So if I was just talking to you, hey Jerry, how's it going? and I touched it right there, it would weld.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to be conscious. So they say that, if you put the hook there, hook that on something, it might be a good idea to get that away.
Okay.
But if this touched like my arm, it wouldn't hurt me. But if that was in contact with me and then I touched it, I'd get really messed up.
Okay.
So what you wouldn't want to do is have barehanded, be doing like this.
Mm-hmm.
Let me hold this here. But if you have that glove on, you're okay.
Okay.
And it's just when that touches that, you're completing a circuit.
It's always hot.
And it's it's lightning, it's
Yeah.
plasma,
Yeah.
and it's so bright. That's why you have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
But that really micro switch is just activating that motor, which causes the feed.
Okay.
And when you're ready to weld, you get that set up on either your vise or your piece of metal or your metal table,
Yeah.
your ground, and you turn on your system. You plug it into 110. They say it's probably not good to plug it into an extension cord. So ideally, you can get this really close. And this is just a controller for how fast that motor turns to feed your wire. You probably start off slowly,
Mm-hmm.
and then see how it works when you go to weld. And this is just on and off. These pertain to levels of power. I have to read about what it is, minimum and max.
Okay.
1 and 2, I think, is levels of power.
Okay.
And then if you have thick metal that you have to weld, you want higher power because you're trying to create enough electrical energy to actually melt a little bit the material you're working on.
Yeah.
But if it was lightweight metal, you don't want that much juice because it can burn right through the metal
Gotcha.
and actually damage the piece you're working on.
Yeah.
So it's kind of simple. It's like one of the simplest ways to start with welding. So I think once we try it, we'll try the minimum settings, we'll try the slower speed, and we'll get our metals on the vise, and we'll just click and do this to create a line.
Yeah.
Do another one, and then flip it over on the vise, do the other side, and then take the bar stock or the rebar, put it in position, tack it, and then fill in,
Yeah.
and make that a hotter, longer load so that stick is on there really tight.
Okay.
And then I think we can make Damascus.
Sounds good.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
I think I'll read the directions. What the heck?
Okay.